So, Miss Fox, how are you today?
I think I'm doing okay, thank you.
All right. And what is it that brings you into the office?
What I'm really struggling with, I'm going through my divorce and uh, being a single mom with the kids. It's really overwhelming. My son, I think he's beginning to use again, and my one daughter is living with a borderline personality disorder, and I'm working two jobs, and it just feels like I am, burning the candle at both ends and dealing with some really heavy things.
And from the time, and those things sound like some pretty heavy issues that people may feel are a little bit abnormal. But I want you to understand that a lot of people are in similar situations and deal with a lot of the same things. Um, so, what is it you have done, or if anything, since the time from making the appointment until today? Has there been any type of um, things that you have put in place to help you in these situations?
Well, I have my daughter who is living with borderline personality disorder. We have increased her therapy, and I'm working on some boundaries with my son.
All right. And have you done anything to address the feeling of burning the candle at both ends?
Well, there's not a lot of support. We live in a very small community. Even the therapy that we have to get for my daughter's, you know, 25 minutes away. Um, it's, you know, I I really feel like I don't know how to with the schedules that's coming up with my work and therapy and my other children, and I have to work to pay the bills. Not to mention just going through my divorce. I feel like I can't speak up for myself. I just am just going with the flow of those demands so I can stay afloat in the rest of my life.
All right. Um, what do you think would be an outcome that would let you know that today's session was kind of worth coming in or worth your while for the time?
Um, hmm, maybe maybe coming up with some sort of plan or feeling like I have the resources to come up with a plan, um, to just not feel so overwhelmed, um, and also maybe just not to feel so guilty about some things. Not being there for my other two children while these two children are taking up most of my time. Yeah, I guess that's just maybe I want to leave here feeling like the plan of how I can tap into more resources.
Okay. And resources is something that are available in the community, and it's possible we can get a list of those together for you. Um, so sounds like your goals are to be able to identify your resources, develop a plan for like equity with the children, kind of time management with each of the children or all the children together, and feeling like you can develop this plan on your own or with the resources.
Right.
All right. Um, can you remember a time when you didn't feel as if there was this being pushed in all directions or burning the candle at both ends, so to say?
Not really. It's been years. I'm leaving a very dysfunctional relationship. Um, even with my son using, I think this is his response to even more chaos. Even though we're going in a place where the kids feel safe and there's more calm, there still is that trauma that he's dealing with. And there's some of the boundaries I've had to put in place is just, it's been heartbreaking
Okay.
to kind of push him, to say that he can't be part of our home life if he's going to use.
All right.
When actually he's, part of his use is dealing with the trauma of the relationship that I just left.
And you talked about wanting to be able to set some boundaries uh, when you first come in at the beginning of the session, and you just brought up the boundaries that you have in place. How is it that you are enforcing those boundaries?
Am I enforcing? Well, I'm being clear with him about my expectation. He cannot be using to be here. I just really had to stand my ground, and it has been hard because it goes against all of what I feel as a mom.
Mm.
But sometimes I wonder, am I being too hard, or am I expecting too much? I've never been through somebody using drugs like this.
Okay. Have you tried any support groups like Al-Anon?
Yes, I am going to Al-Anon once a week.
Again, I want you to understand or not feel as if um, it's something that you have to deal with on your own. This issue, addiction in particular, is something that a lot of families experience, if not directly, indirectly through one of their children. Uh, if you weren't dealing with the substance use of your child and the mental health uh, issues with your daughter and the divorce, how do you think life would be? What do you think the um, the life of Lisa Birchfield would be like?
Well, I can tell you what I would want for it to be like.
Okay.
But I don't know what it would be like. We've been in such a state of chaos for so long.
All right.
But what I would want for it to be like is, I really just want some peace. I want to be able to feel like there's safety in our home, less chaos. I feel like I lost control of my own home. Um, we have just so much going on all at once. It's like we're in a crisis mode at all times.
And so this question may sound a little bit off the wall or a little bit odd to you. So is it okay to ask you this? All right. So let's say you left here this afternoon and you went home and you finished out your day and you were asleep, and while you were asleep, a miracle took place. When you woke up tomorrow, how would you know that miracle had taken place?
Um, hmm, my daughter would be healthy. My son would have better coping skills. And my divorce would be final.
Well, outside the divorce being final, how would you know those other things have taken place? The daughter would be healthy. What signs would you see?
Okay. She too would have better coping skills. Um, she wouldn't be violent. Um, there wouldn't be a sense of fear around her. And for my son, he'd be clean and sober.
Okay.
I would have my son back. This is not my son.
So in the scheme of things, your situations that you're finding difficult to deal with, the divorce and the chaos and the substance use from your son and the mental health um, issues with your daughter, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being extreme chaos and the worst things could be, and 10 being that waking up after that miracle took place, where do you feel you're at on that 1 to 10 scale right now?
So 10 being the best
Yep.
and 1 being the worst.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like I'm like at a 2.
You're at a 2?
Yeah.
Why would you put yourself at a 2 and not a 1?
There are certain parts of my life, like even though I do work a lot or I have 2 jobs, I do have a sense of peace in my work. Um, I'm able to, uh, it's like work is my safe place. So I do have moments, like when my son's not at the house or my daughter is in therapy, that I do have time with my other 2 children, that we're able to just get a quick few moments of what I would hope is normalcy, because I don't know what normalcy is in our family at this point.
Okay. What do you think it would, excuse me, what do you think it would take for you to get that 2 to a 3 or a 4? What would you need to do
Hmm.
or like to see?
Well, I know about focusing on what I can control, is um, to be able to spend more time with my other 2 children in a calm environment. And again, my daughter, hopefully with the increase in therapy, that she'll just learn some new coping skills to bring into the home with us, or to use with us.
All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a few moments. I'm going to review some of the things that I have. Well, before I take this break and review my notes, I have one further question. How do you think someone else close to you, a mother, father, sister, brother, would say that how you're handling, how would they say you're handling the situation right now?
Um, I don't know. I think, and I have a lot of stories in my head because we do live in a very small community, and so I kind of feel like the spotlight is on us. So I have stories in my mind that they'll think that we've lost it. Um, I don't have a lot of support, but the support that I do have has been encouraging, and I hear a lot of, man, I don't know how you're doing this. And so I just know we have to do it. There's no options.
Okay.
Mm.
So I fibbed a little bit. One other question.
Okay.
How is it? What things are you doing to get through it?
Um, well, I'm here for one. I'm in therapy. My other two children are also in therapy. The other two daughters. My oldest one is about to move out because she is 18. And so I'm sad that she's going to leave because she's been so helpful. But at the same time, I'm really glad that she gets to leave so she doesn't have to be here for all of this.
Okay.
So we're in therapy. I also, I'm really honest with my children about what's going on. So I don't feel like I have to put on a facade for them. And um, I do some physical activity like working out to help me just kind of keep going with my mental health. There's some things that I don't. Like I make sure that I'm eating okay and that I'm drinking enough water. If I can do just those bare minimum for myself physically, then I feel like I have a sense of accomplishment for my day, at least for myself. At least I can get the bare minimum in.
All right. So now I'm going to take that moment that I told you about just a few moments ago, and I'll get back with you after I review these notes. Okay? You can take this time and look at your phone if you like, and I'll be right back with you.
Thank you.
All right. So I've reviewed some of the things that we've discussed, and I'd like to start out by saying I think you're doing a really good job, even though you may feel like you're burning the candles at both ends, and that you're kind of at the your wits end with things. You're doing a lot of things to help you in this situation. You work out. You and your children are both in therapy. You came here today, even though you feel like scheduling and time management is an issue. You found the time to uh, participate in something you thought would help. You have that level of honesty with your children and your family. I think is very important in the situation. You attend Al-Anon again. You're taking time to do some of the things that will help you deal with the specific situations that are occurring in your life. You're able to set clear expectations and boundaries and enforce those boundaries. It's very important that you not only have those boundaries and expectations, but you enforce those boundaries. Once they're broken, it's very easy to set them. Enforcing them is really the hard part, and you're doing that. Um, and you stay focused on um, the things that you can control in your life, and not focusing on the things that are outside of your ability to control. So I believe that you're doing a lot of great things for yourself in this moment.
Thank you.
Some of the and even though you feel that you work a lot, having two jobs to pay the bills, you do have at least that small sense of peace while you're at work. And so it does give you a little bit of serenity in your life, even though you feel like you're living in a chaotic and you've lost a chaotic environment and that you lost control in your life. Um, so getting to from that two to that next level, um, what do you think? Some things you can work on to get there between now and the next time we see each other.
I think just giving myself a break and just recognize after hearing you say that, I recognize I'm doing all that I can do. Things are not going to go back to the way they were.
So, what do you think um, giving yourself a break looks like?
Being kind to myself.
Okay. In what ways would you describe being kind to yourself?
I think part of it is allowing myself to grieve, and realizing like I'm not, I've never been through this before. I'm figuring out as I go along.
Okay.
And even as I'm saying it, like I know I have to work, but what if I were able to cut back here and be able to do more at the house or be at the house?
Okay. So, how much time would you like to cut back and do a little bit more at the house?
Mm. I have a part-time job that's about, I work in the evenings and then a few hours on a Saturday. I wonder if I could put everything that I do in the evenings on a Saturday, or just cut out one of my Saturdays so I could have more time.
All right. Which one seems more feasible, the evenings to a Saturday or cutting out a
I
Saturday?
think actually the evenings, because it would give me more time at home with my kids.
Okay. So would a good goal be to have removed the extra work on the evenings uh,
Yeah,
in between next session?
yeah.
All right. Well, Miss Fox, I hope you've come to some understanding about yourself today. Uh, don't forget about the homework, the working, not working in the evenings and uh, spending more time at home in the evenings. And if you stop at the desk on the way out, Georgina, she will set you another appointment and she'd also get you some pamphlets, some resources in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.